G'day everybody and welcome back to another video, this time for the first week of the winter season down at the Karting Madness Braybrook track. We've come to really fall in love with this track. It's got a lot of cool, tight technical sections that are easy to get a grasp of but really hard to master. And here we go for the start of the winter season. We're missing a couple of the regulars tonight, just mainly due to either injury or the majority of them are actually on holidays, the lucky buggers. But that's okay, that gives us a nice opportunity to lap up some points. We're qualified in third position tonight. Our good friend Luke is on pole position, followed by a newcomer in Dino with the red helmet. Then, just like I said, myself in third, Curtis in fourth place, and Jay behind him in fifth position, and a few other newcomers behind us. It's actually been really good to see a lot of newcomers to the league, both on the Wednesday and the Thursday nights. I've said this to a couple of guys before, but I'll say it again, this time for a video. Joining this league is probably the best decision I've made in recent memory. It's a lot of fun. The guys I get to race alongside they're awesome, they're very respectful, especially on track. For the most part, racing is very clean and we definitely push ourselves to the limits. But here we go, waiting for the green to go out. Dino, almost making a jump start. But we're green for the start of the winter season down in Braybrook. And we get a bit of a slow start. We lose a position to Curtis and also to Jay. And I think it's dawning on me here that now that we've lost two positions before even the first corner, there's something wrong with my kart. I start waving to the marshals as much as I possibly can to say, hey, there's something not quite right with this kart. I'm waving vigorously to say, hey, there's something not quite right with this kart. And luckily someone spins, well, am I going to say luckily? I don't know. Somebody does spin on the way into the hairpin, allowing the yellow flag to come out, and they've stopped us all in at the start of the lap once again. And yeah, they figured out there's something wrong with my kart, and they were kind enough to let me jump into a spare kart sitting in the pit lane. And before anybody judges too early, these are rental karts. They get used pretty much every day, and there's no way that we can possibly expect the guys down at Karting Madness or any other higher karting venue to maintain a perfect fleet of karts. These karts suffer from any other traditional wear and tear that you might see in any other motor vehicle. And sometimes they break down, sometimes they have issues, and that is more than okay. The marshals were very quick to fit me into a new kart and get me on my way. And then after a little bit of reorganizing the order, we got back underway and I'm in third position. But this time with a cold kart, hence why I've lost so much ground to the guys ahead. And I'll also lose more ground to the guys behind. My kart is definitely not warmed up, just like everybody else's. The tyres are basically skid buckets. And I'm just sliding all over the place. You can see myself understeering everywhere. We lose a position to Jay before the end of the second lap, going on to the third lap. And I was lucky enough to see Jay go sliding towards the outside of the truck section, giving me back that. The yellows come out to allow Jay to get back racing again, but the poor dude has probably fallen way down the order. But back to the situation at hand, and I've still got a very cold car, and Curtis is right up behind me, and I get a poor exit. I'm just sliding all over the place on the exit of the hairpin. Curtis gets up my inside into the double left-hander, and I slide myself into the wall. We're still side by side on the second left, but Curtis gets away from me. And onto lap 4, we've now fallen back down to fourth place, one position from where we started the race. But I'm sure once I get my kart warmed up, I can get myself into a fighting position. And sure enough, fast forwarding to the end of lap 14, going on to lap 15, we've caught back up to Curtis. Curtis racing in the famous 29 kart, which is very well known for setting the 33-second lap record at the hands of our mate Tony. But ever since that lap record was set, the kart has been given a bit of a reset and has been brought back down to earth with the rest of the fleet here in Braybrook. And if anything, it suffers from a little bit of acceleration, or a lack of acceleration I should say. And you can see that on exit of the hairpin, I'm catching up to Curtis on the straight, giving him a bump on entry to the double left-hander. And that's just to let him know, hey, I'm here, I'm behind you, I've caught back up again. And I'm going to put the pressure on you, and he can feel it, I'm sure. As we go on entry into the truck section, he goes a little bit wide. I think he's too late on the brakes, and I'm right up behind him on entry into the wood section, still hounding Curtis for that third position. He takes a cheeky look just to check if I'm there. We make a little bit of slight contact again, and he goes defensive on the way into the hairpin. I have to go out wide, and if anything, I'm a little bit deep, and I go understeering into the outside wall. Through the double left and onto lap 17 now, and you can see the acceleration difference. I'm slightly catching up to him through the flat out section, through the truck section again, and we're clean through there, coming out of it pretty well, but you can see the acceleration still giving me that upper hand. On entry into the wood section, Curtis goes wide. You can see that I'm there, and he gives me the room on approach to the hairpin. We go side by side. He takes to the defensive line. I attempt the switch back, and as I get the inside line, that acceleration deficit allows me to get up the inside. We go side by side through the first double left, and on our way through the second double left, I managed to come out ahead on lap 18. We've now made our way back up to third place, where we started at the start of the race. And as we race on now, trying to catch Dino in second position, trying to build that consistency back up, I'm just going to bring up something that we, every now and then talk about at these league nights and any other amateur racing events regarding the acceptable level of bumping and or contact. And before I go on any further, I'll say two things. One, I'm not a marshal at these events. I don't run these events, so this is my own opinion. Obviously the ruling down on track might be a little bit different. And secondly, these are amateur racing events using hire karts, and it's hard to expect people to behave like pro racers or know how to behave like professional racing drivers. These are amateur events, and mistakes are going to happen and mishaps are going to occur, and to me that is more than okay. Keeping that in mind, I think the only time when it's acceptable to bump someone is when you're hitting them square on the bumper, when you're behind them maybe on a straight or an exit of a corner, just to communicate with them and say, hey, I am here, I am behind you, if you make a mistake, I'm probably going to go for a move. And that helps them know that you're behind them and makes them aware of your presence, so that if you do go for a move, they will hopefully be a little bit more aware to what you're trying to do. Beyond that, even if someone has made a mistake in front of you and they're going a little bit slower than you, if you know that when you hit them, they're going to either spin out or get put into a wall, that to me is not an acceptable level of bumping. Say for example, if someone gets a slow exit out of the truck section, they're perpendicular to the direction I'm facing, I'm going to try my best to avoid contact, even if that means having to slow myself down. At the end of the day, we're all mates out here on the racetrack, and we're all here to have a good time with some close racing. And we can't do that if we're not taking care of one another out on the racetrack and making sure that we all go home safely after the race. And after that little tangent, we fast forward to lap 31. We've caught up to the second position, Dino, wearing the red helmet. And Dino's a really fast driver. He's new to the league, and so he's just struggling with a little bit of consistency, but I'm sure as the season goes on, he'll develop into a really strong and consistent driver. But you can see he's just making tiny little mistakes, allowing me to gain some ground, and he goes a little bit defensive on the way into the hairpin, gives himself a poor exit, and here we go. I'm up the inside on the way to the double left, and we go side by side over the jump through the first apex, through the second one. We're still side by side, even through the S's, and he's still holding on, but I just get by, only just. We're on to lap 32 now, and I thought that was it, that was my race, but even I make a mistake through the truck section. I go wide on exit, really poor for me, and that allows Dino back up past me on approach to the wood section. He's got the inside for the hairpin, and he's ahead of me. I give him a bump just to give him a little bit of extra acceleration, because I know Curtis is behind us waiting to pick up the pieces. And you know how I know that? It's because he bumps me on the way into the next hairpin, which then causes me to bump Dino, and here we go, side by side again, through the first fast left, through the next fast left, and this time we get it done nice and early. Going on to lap 33, we've made it up to second position, and now it's just up to me to run away from Curtis and Dino. I'm not doing that very well to begin with, but I see no threats coming my way, and that allows me to just run away with second position. And from there, not much else happens, at least in my race. Somewhere in the melee, Curtis did get by Dino, but here we are on the final lap of the race, crossing the finish line, seeing the checkered flag to come home in P2. Good race for me, and that was a really good way to start the season. Like I said earlier in the video, we're missing some regulars tonight, so we've done well to finish up with a good summer points, and we're looking forward to some of the boys coming back next week. Well, that's how we finish up for the start of the 2024 winter season here in Braybrook. And with an 11 driver grid, we have Luke finishing in first place with the fastest lap time of 34.858. Myself finishing in second place with the fastest lap of 35.272. Curtis, like I mentioned, got past Dino at some point through the melee to finish third with the fastest lap of 35.515. Dino comes home in fourth with a 35.331. Stormy Sean comes home in fifth with a fastest lap of 35.665. Christian in sixth with a 36.054. JJ12 in seventh with a 35.888. Jay comes home in eighth, and if you remember, Jay's the one in the blue helmet who got past us on the first lap. His fastest lap was a 35.410. Hawkey came home in ninth with a 36.124. Our young Padawan Ari comes home in 10th place with the fastest lap of 36.306. And Marcus rounds out the field in 11th place with a 37.329. That was an awesome way to start the season, and I'm keen for many more races to come. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.